And we're back at the table once again on Saturday, a beautiful Saturday. I'm getting a lot of feedback. All right, we here. We made it. It was a close call because I was tired. But I decided to roll myself out the bed. Woo! Listen, I rolled myself out of the bed. My grandson had his first baseball game today, and that sun was beaming down on us, and it took every ounce of energy that I had. So I came home and decided, okay, I'm going to take a quick nap. I'm going to set my alarm clock so I can be here on time. And baby, when that alarm clock went off, I picked up this phone to text Miles to say, put on a rebroadcast. And then I rolled over and said, get your butt up, girl. You got work to do. So I grabbed me, everybody should know what I grabbed me, a Pepsi, drunk me a little bit, and I am ready to rock and roll. So this week, we had an awesome week. I almost quit last night again. Now, y'all may hear this every week, but I almost quit school again. I'm telling you, I think as the weeks are going, my professor is getting crazier and crazier. But I pray this is the last time I have to see this professor because he's just doing too much. You know, I'm just going to have to say he's doing too much. Or maybe, shoot, we just used to not doing enough. No, I'm just playing. But it was a lot of work. Last night I finished 5 papers and I collapsed. And I just realized that we are only on Saturday. I don't know why I thought it was Sunday yesterday. I thought yesterday was Saturday and I thought today was Sunday. So that should tell you how hard I'm working. Working too hard. But listen, guys, this is the last week. Next Saturday, we are rocking out at the Masquerade Ball for Detroit Table Talk. We're going to have a good time. I don't know what y'all going to do, but we're going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing every last one of you there at the Masquerade Ball. Put on your slacks, put on your dress, put your mask on, and come on out and have a good time.
The Detroit Table Talk podcast
I'm going to run this commercial real quick so y'all can see it for the last time.
Not like that. Saturday, June 10th, 2023 from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. 25463 Grand River, Redford, Michigan, located in the Redford Oaks Plaza. Plenty food, cash bar. Ticket costs $50. More information, call 313-333-9657. This is a Detroit Table Talk production.
You guys, I really enjoyed that commercial. So I want to thank Larry for doing my commercial for me. I like it. And everybody who have listened to it say that is a bomb commercial. So I appreciate him for all his hard work, for hooking me up, and for, just supporting me through this whole, adventure. So today, guys, we're going to move on. Today, I'm going to be talking about, am I soft enough? And get your mind out the gutter, because no, we're not talking about that. But anywho, we're going to talk about, am I soft enough? When you hear that, most people mind go straight, a certain way to the left. But today we're going to be talking about how masculine women are these days. We have to at some point, because I think, this is just my opinion. This whole show is going to be about my opinion. So if you don't like it, oh well. You can call and chime in. You can give your point of view. But it's not going to change my point of view for the most part. But we're talking about how women have just become so masculine in this society today. We used to be soft. We used to be feminine. We used to allow our feminine energy to come forth, the femininity that we're supposed to walk in. I don't see it as much. And I want us to get back to being soft as women. We don't need to compete with, the men that are in our life or the men that are around us. It got to be something special to just be a woman, just to show up as a woman. If you always got to show up like you the man, it's a problem. And it's a problem if the man that you would allowing you to show up as a man. I don't know. Maybe he want to take on your energy, your feminine energy, but there are some households that switch. There are some households that the men allow women to be masculine. She's the head now, and he has taken on the feminine traits, and for me, this is just for me. Did you hear my words? For me, I am more traditional. So I'm stuck in a traditional, way. I think that there are things that women should do, and I think that there are things that men should do. And I know, ladies, we have arrived. We have our whole independence. We done burnt our bras and then put them back on. I understand all that. But what I am saying is there is just still some roles that I think women operate better in and men operate better in. For me, I don't want to take out the trash. We ain't got to argue about that. That's his job. When my car pull up and it's nasty, I want to look him in his face, or maybe I'll wait till I'm giving him some, and then just slide like, baby, my car need to be clean. You know what I'm saying? I want him to do that. Now there is one thing that I probably would want to do myself, but I'm sure any real man is not going to allow me to. I would rather cut my own grass. Because a man gonna go out there, if he's not really into, landscaping and stuff like that, he just gonna go out there and get it done. I don't want it just done. I want to see the lines. It gotta look like carpet. It gotta just, it gotta look like you putting some love to it. Because if not, then I'm probably gonna say, well, knowing me, I'd probably do it when he not home, so he wouldn't, so he won't fuss. When he pull up, the grass already cut. The water is, is on the grass and it's just glistening. I'm so serious. I miss my grass. I sold my house about 10 or 11 years ago, and I absolutely miss driving up. Now, it did get to the point where it would be hot days. I would pay somebody to do it, a landscaper. And, when it says it's going to be 80-something degrees or something like that, he will always call or text me and say, you got it today or you want me to do it? Buddy, can you have it done by the time I get home from work? So he would come early in the morning before the sun get out. And he knew I was funny acting. So he would turn my water on, and then he would come back after he cut a couple of more grass if the sun went down, and he would turn my water off for me. But when I would drive in from the job, my grass was so pretty, let me tell y'all. I would park in the driveway, or sometimes I would park across the street and just admire how my grass looked. Now, one day I did pull up and the joker didn't cut my grass right. It was like lines crossing each other. I was like, no! I thought it was the end of the world. I would call him and be like, sir. He'd be like, don't start with me today, Carmen. Sir, you have to come back because I won't be able to sleep if them lines not right. So he would have to come back and just go over it or something like that. And I'd be like, see, this is the way it's supposed to look. And I used to always have to tell him, if you come back, I will fry you some chicken and I'll have you some lemonade. And he'd be like, well, you ain't said nothing but a word. I'm on my way. So there is some things that I do think that there are, there's a place for a woman and there's a place for a man. But I will cross over when it comes to the grass. I think that women should be the one to upkeep the household. Yes, I know men are cooking now and they're helping with the cleaning. But at the end of the day, it's her job to make sure that those things are solidified in a way that a woman lived there. If you walk up in the house and it look like him and his boys live there, I don't know what you're doing. It should be a certain smell when you walk through the door. I don't care if it's something like you baking or hell, Bath and Body Works got all kind of candles. So you can get cupcakes, you can get Hawaiian breeze, you can get vanilla, You can get whatever you want to make your house smell good. Now, I love smell good. So I'm always going to have something burning. I'm always going to have something I'm spraying. And I have a few friends that hate it. You know, they act like I'm just going to kill them off of the earth because I'm spraying, smell good. But I love smell good, So I think that there is things that a woman should do and the things that a man should do. Cooking, I think it's a woman's job. Ladies, don't kill me. But I think that the man can jump in and help, if she's overwhelmed, she's running late. Don't sit your butt in that living room and wait for her to come home and cook, and you've been home for 2 hours. Cook something. I remember my grandparents. At a certain age, I went and lived with my grandparents. And it was 3 of us. We were adults. Myself, my auntie, and my uncle. And we got weeks of chores. So if this week I was on cooking, I had to cook for the whole week. Now, the only thing to that was you got to cook whatever you wanted. And whatever you wanted to cook, everybody had to eat. So if you was a jackbutt, which my uncle was a lot of times, he used to get on my nerves. He used to boil or fry some hot dogs. And we had to eat it for dinner. And my granddad, my grandma would say, if you don't like it, get in there and cook on his day. So we got real smart. We used to just close our mouth and eat whatever was presented for us because we didn't want our week and his week. And my grandparents didn't play about that, complaining. So, yeah. When I started cooking, I know y'all may not believe this because I'm a pretty good cook. But when I met my children's father, I didn't know how to cook. Homeboy taught me. And I did not want to learn. I'm just going to be honest with you. My mom cooked every day. I was satisfied with that. And then when he came in my life and he wanted me to cook something, I was like, you got the wrong woman, baby. And he would go in there and cook. And, I think after so long, he was like, I need you to come on in the kitchen to help me cook. And I said, I don't know how to do that. He would say, well, just come in here. I'm going to show you. And then he would try to make me cut stuff up. I would do it grudgingly. Oh, I used to hate it. But guess what? I sat there, I learned, and then we end up dividing the cooking. Most of the time, it fell on me. After he felt like I knew what I was doing, he didn't allow me to go back to, being a woman that didn't cook no more. He would just get slick with it too. He used to call 2 hours early. I'm on my way home. You think you can fry them pork chops? I used to be like, God damn. I was thinking about going to get some Popeyes, Or he'll call me and say, hey, I got a few fellas, a few of my boys coming over. You think you can cook us something? I used to be like, this joker is taking advantage of me. Like, especially like when he was a club person. I was a homebody. And, I guess all that paid off because he ended up owning a club. But he would call me at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning when the club would end. And he would say, do you mind frying some chicken? The boys going to stop over. I used to have to get out the bed and fry some chicken for him and his friends. I didn't like it. But I did it because that's what made him happy. And that's what ran our household. So all this masculine energy that women have now, I don't get it. So I'm asking the question, am I soft enough? Or should I rephrase it? Are we soft enough for you fellas? You can always call in too. 313-266-2811. Again, 313-266-2811. I want you guys to watch this and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
Do you know that it's only in the Western society that you find a woman be more masculine than the men?
If you were to give me my ideal woman, I have the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her.
Most of the feminine women that understand their roles as a woman are getting houses and cars and bills paid in full, living life at ease, while you're living on survival in your masculine energy. The first step to changing all of that is taking high value women one-on-one. So you understand what it is to be a feminine woman, you understand confidence, you understand what it truly means to be a high value.
had to clap off that. I don't know where we got as women this notion that I don't need a man. I don't know who taught us that. I don't know if it was mama. I don't know if it was auntie and them sitting around a table, or if you picked up from auntie and them sitting around a table when your butt shouldn't even been in a conversation. You should have been downstairs somewhere. But somewhere we went left, and we haven't recouped. We haven't recouped at all. I don't know this whole thing that we can do it by ourselves. I used to subscribe to that for a long time because I had to. Now, I use this word loosely, and I've got checked a couple of times, so I try not to say it as much. But I would say, I was a single mom in a sense where I had the boys, most of the time, but their dad was always present in their life or whatever. And because of the boys living with me, I had to take on a brunt of a lot of the stuff. Of course I had to get up and take them to school. Of course I had to pick them up from school, cook dinner, help them with their homework, be outside because I had boys. I had to be outside throwing footballs, playing basketball, so somewhere along the line, I got caught up in the notion that I don't need no man. I got this over here. Until one day I got so fed up. I broke down. I'm telling you what I did. I broke down and I was like, wait a minute. He said he finna go out. I said, I ain't been out in months. Let me tell y'all what I did, ladies. I'm not saying this is something that you should do. I'm just telling you what Carmen did. I packed them kids up. I put the clothes in them book bags. I drove them kids clear across from one west side of the town to the other west side of the town. I knocked on the door. When he answered, I got in that car and pulled over and pulled off. He was blowing up my phone. I gotta go to work. I said, so do I. What I'm gonna do with the kids? I said, find a babysitter. He told me, so what are you doing? You gotta come back and get them. I said, listen, the same stuff that I have to do when I have to go to work and school, you do the same thing. Find a babysitter, pay somebody. Figure it the hell out because I'm not coming back to get the kids. And I left them babies with him for a whole week. He was so mad at me. Matter of fact, he brought it up to me yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, he brought it up to me last night. He said, I can't believe. Now, our children are 29 and 31. He brought it up last night. He said, I still can't believe you dropped them boys off with me for a whole week. It didn't look back, okay? I drove around the corner. I parked the car, guys, and I started crying. Because I had never been without the boys, and I felt like, dang, that was wrong, But I said he got to learn. He got to understand the juggle that a mother has to do with the children. And after, I called his mom because evidently he told his mama. And the mama called me. And I thought she was going to call and fuss at me and stuff like that. His mother loved me. His mother and his father completely loved me. I'm sitting in the car crying. She said, what you crying for? I said, I feel bad because I just dropped the boys off with him and I didn't tell him. She said, go get your nails or hair done. She said, let his ass figure it out. She said, and if he can't figure it out, I'll go over there and help him. She said, not today, but tomorrow. But she told me, she said, never feel like you can't get away and take a break. She said, you deserve it. She said, you don't deserve to have to be with the children 24/7. When he doesn't have anything to do, he needs to step in and let you get some rest. So that, taught me a lot about not feeling like I had to allow that masculine energy to supersede the feminine energy that, that's just a part of who I am. So now, sometimes I'm not even gonna, let me tell you guys what I do. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I act like I can't do nothing in front of a man. And I'm not trying to say, I don't play the damsel in distress, but hell, I can't do nothing. If I'm walking through a door, I will stop and step to the side so the man can open up the door. I most certainly will. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't carry groceries. I definitely don't pump gas if a man is in the car. But I can't do nothing. If a man is at my house and I got to open up a jar, I done opened up this jar for 51 years. I act like I can't open up nothing. But you know what? This is a secret I'm going to tell you, ladies. Maybe you don't know it, but I'm going to share it with you. Men have to feel like they're needed. If you're constantly walking in your masculine energy, he's going to go to the woman that's down the street that plays like she can't do nothing. And then don't let her talk with that little baby voice. You hit. You're going to be at home struggling and beating the jar on the counter, trying to turn it and she down there telling him, can you get this for me? Can you open up this for me? So we gotta lay low. We gotta move back. We gotta let the man be the man. I reclaim my femininity. I can't do nothing around a man, but I'm not saying that I can't do nothing, but what I'm saying is I'm going to definitely make him feel like he's needed, and that's what we have to do. I see a lot of women. I was put up a post, I think last week. It had to be Thursday, I think it was. It was either Tuesday. No, it was Wednesday. Let me tell you, this is the masculine energy that kind of shocks me I don't know why it still shocks me because I see it more and more and more. I had this young lady that was trying to explain something to her husband. But the way that she was talking to him, it was like she was the man in the relationship. And I'm not saying women that you have to, not address your concerns or anything like that, but it's how you address your concerns. This young lady finger was in her husband's face. She was like pointing and she was looking like, I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but she was looking like, say one more thing, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna sock you in your stuff. She was turned up. I'm sitting there like my mouth is open. Now, I'd have been there now. Don't get me wrong. When I was 19, 21, my children's father can tell you, I was there. But I think that after a certain age, those are the early ages. You making stupid decisions, mistakes, and stuff like that. But if you in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and you still doing that, we have a problem. We have a problem. You got women that are like myself and so many other women who are waiting for a mate or a husband. And you got you foolish women who may have somebody and you don't even know how to treat them. I felt so bad for that man at that moment because I felt like, how in the hell do you disgrace your husband like that in front of people? I mean, she was talking to him like he was somebody on the street that she had not known, that had bumped into her, and she was ready to turn up. And he was just sitting there shaking his head. And you can tell this is something that was normal to him. He just kept putting his head down, shaking his head. And every time he tried to say something, she over-talked him, And I felt so bad because, I ended up talking to her and she was like, well, what would you have done in this? And I'm listening to her. And before I can address the situation, as a woman, I wanted to address her about her behavior. See, don't ask me or don't invite me into a situation if you don't want me to tell you the truth. Because I'm going to tell you the truth and I'm going to tell you my truth. And I begin to tell her, first of all, I have to tell you, your approach is totally off. That's your husband. That ain't no nigga in the street. You don't address him in front of other people, and definitely not like that, with all the cussing and the pointing in his face. And I said, you can't do that, sweetie. You can't do that. She was like, yes, I can. I said, and how has that helped you? Where has that gotten you? Well, I'm just trying. I said, no, but I'm just trying to tell you. I said, as women, we have to help each other out. You cannot address that man like that, especially in front of other people. I said, do you know what that does to his ego? Do you know what that does to him as a man? If you talking to him like that, now, you know, we've all said it, well, I can do this, but you bet not. But you know how many people that will try him based off of what you did? I said, you just can't, you can't do it. I said, you could have waited until you got in the car and addressed that. I said, or you could have waited until you got home and away from the children. Y'all could have went and sat in the car and had a conversation where the children wasn't exposed to all that yelling and fussing back and forth, that cussing. I said, but you can't expect him to treat you a certain way if this is the way that you honor him. So all I'm saying is, all that masculine energy that, you know, that you ladies have, you got to bring that down some notches. And I know you see other women doing it, so you think that it's cool, but it's not. It's not. And if you around real women and they're not, and I don't want to say addressing it like they're telling you what you have to do, but if they're not calling you to the carpet to be better as a woman, you in the wrong circle. You are definitely in the wrong circle. And I would say it'd be the same for a man, but I'm not talking about a man today. You know, we like to flip the conversation, you know. You ask a question or you talk about the women, then they say, well, what about him? Well, what about him? We ain't talking about him today. We talking about us. And because we're coming into Father's Day, we want to just help you to readjust and just think about doing things another way to win that man's heart back and his, you know, to allow him to feel respected and honored again with you and in the household. Because some of these men don't want to come home because they don't want to come home to you. I hate to tell you that. Then you get mad when he get a side piece. I already know. I can hear you saying it. I know you're not here, but I can hear you saying it. Some men gonna cheat no matter what you do. Okay. If you say so. I believe you. There are men that I know that don't cheat. So what you say about them? My daddy didn't cheat. My granddaddy didn't cheat. What y'all say? So yeah, you can say, well, if I do this, he's still gonna cheat. And a man who wanna cheat gonna cheat. Okay. Well, then guess what? You picked him. How about that? You picked that cheating man. But what I'm saying is a man is easier and quicker to respect a woman that gives off energy as a woman that can be respected. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to make mistakes. I'm not even alluding to anything like that. But what I am saying is when you match in his energy, then he has to either match the same energy or go over the energy that you have to assert himself back to the place where he's back the head again. See, y'all didn't hear what I just said. I just told y'all something. I just preached the whole message. Y'all ain't even have to wait till tomorrow. If you matching that man's, the church of the door is open. You know, we're going to send out the collection plate. If you are matching that man's energy from where he's at, understand that he's going to go higher because now he has to reclaim the place of being the head and the man. So he's going to get even higher than that. Unless he has gotten so exhausted and so tired with you that he throws in the towel and he don't even have the energy to say nothing to your crazy self. That's all I'm saying. Let's do another one.
I ain't never seen a man that I fucking need, bitch. You're all replaceable. Don't ever get too comfortable and don't ever think otherwise. You're a guest in this household and you can be kicked out just as quickly as you were welcomed in.
I just get so confused when I see these ladies that are using filters, a ton of makeup, drawn on eyebrows, fake eyelashes, and where you can still see the glue at the top of their head for hair that is not theirs. So confidently come on the screen and talk shit about men. How dare you?
Did you hear what that lady said? Ladies, we got to do better. We got to do better. I know, because I said it too from time to time, our men have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to get right. But why don't we set the tone and the temperature for our household and for our relationships? If we set the temperature and I'm all about, and I recently just got into this maybe about 6 months ago, because I refuse to call men kings and all that stuff, because I don't see the royalty behind it, you know. And a lot of times we're king in this person and king in that person, and they're peasants, you know. So I understand, but what I am saying is, let's start treating them better. Let's start treating them a way that their actions will want to come up. And, you know, one of my girlfriends, she tells me this all the time. She say, I call men kings because he has to respond after I say that. If I say, hey, king, she said he's eager to respond with, hey, queen. And, you know, sometimes he have to think about it like, dang, she called me a king. So sometimes it would adjust his behavior and his mindset. And maybe it's just momentarily. But I tell you, if you do it enough, you know, they start feeling better about themselves. Because some of our men, if not most of our men, are beat down. They beat down by the system. They beat down by our communities. They're beat down a lot of times by their mothers. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't even gonna talk about the daddies not being present to beat them down. That's a beat down that you know, that no man wants. You know, their father walking out and they not knowing their true identity. You know, so our men get beat up a lot, and then he come home and he get beat up. And I know you're saying that some of them need to be beat up. But hey, if you don't speak life into it, why should there be life there? I just don't get it. I don't get it. You know, if nobody is speaking, if you with me and you're not speaking life to me, why am I there? Why am I there? Ask yourself, if you're not speaking life into him, why do you want him there? Why do you expect him to be there? He gonna be out the door on the first thing smoking. He's going to always find something to do outside the house because he don't want to be at home with you. Well, you know, until it's time to screw you, or until it's time to, you know, go to bed, or when he know you already sleep, you know. It's gonna. So I'm just saying, you know, we got to start speaking life back into our men. You know, we got Father's Day coming up, the least honored day ever. And I know women, you masculine, you talking about you the mama and the daddy, lies they tell you. And if your mama telling you that, she a lie. If your grandma tell you that, she a lie. If your girl next to you telling you Happy Father's Day, they double lying. I'm just telling you. I'm not telling no woman Happy Father's Day. Y'all tripping. I'm not saying Happy Father's Day to a woman because you're not the father. You don't have a penis. You didn't put that seed inside of yourself. You crazy. I do everything. I don't give a flying floozy. You are not the father. That's in Maury's voice. Just hear it. Hear Maury saying, you are not the father. Get your trifling self up. Let them babies call their father, because it don't have nothing to do with you at this point. You mad he left you. And you won't be the first one. You mad because he don't want to be with you. You won't be the first one. You mad because you can't manipulate him no more. You won't be the last one. But allow them kids to have a relationship with their father without being under duress. That's not even a word. Wait a minute. I screwed that word up. Duress. I said duress. Right. Let them kids, let that man be a father to his children. He don't have to see his kids in front of you. Who the hell are you? Who are you that you feel like you have to monitor him to watch his kids? All because you really, come on now, you really just want to be in his presence. It ain't about them kids. Father's Day is coming up. As mothers, our children think about us sometimes. Some kids think about us a month or two in advance, and they start going out and they start looking for Mother's Day gifts for us, and they have a whole plan laid out. We're going to get mama. Matter of fact, we're going to pop up at church because we know mama want to see us at church. We're going to go to church with mama. Then we're going to take mama out to dinner. We're going to take some beautiful pictures. She going to open up her gifts or her money. She going to have a smile as big as that damn Mackinac Bridge that we have to cross. She going to be excited. But when daddy come, when Father's Day come, ain't nobody saying nothing. Ain't nobody doing group chats. Ain't nobody calling saying who doing the barbecue. You know, are we throwing something for all the fathers in the family? Ain't nobody said nothing. Everybody get quiet as a mouse. Ain't no vendors. I had to go and get my uncles, because I get my uncle something every year. I drove and I said, where are the vendors? They be out here for Mother's Day. And I got something hit and miss, but it was maybe a cup with some, Jolly Ranchers. And I said, oh, hell no. We giving daddy Jolly Ranchers? He might even got no teeth. That's wrong. That's wrong. So, I'm just like, come on, people. We got to plan stuff out for dad. And it's a short notice because Father's Day is maybe 2 weeks away. You still got a little time to put something in motion. But start for next year. Start making him feel just as important, just as special. Some of you, the ladies, don't even do nothing for your significant other on those days. You weird. And guess what? He weird for sitting there allowing you not to celebrate him. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all just weird out here in America. Yeah. I'm either constantly having to talk to myself to readjust what I'm doing, because I'm stuck on one side where I've seen certain way of growing up and living, and now I'm battling having to adjust to this sick world that we just running in. We just making up shit as we go. I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cuss. My my ex-fiance told me, when you start cussing? I said, when I started talking last week and I thought about some stuff I wanted to say. But I told him I wasn't going to cuss no more. Well, let me not lie to you. I'm going to cuss when I get ready. Now, I ain't going to be no sailor like my mother and my auntie was. But I'm grown. I do what the heck I want to do. But, But all I'm saying is, come on, guys. Shake yourself loose. This world is making us have to think twice about some of our actions. We're having to adjust to this sick world, or not, but most times we're having to adjust because that's just the way that, society is rolling. So sometimes you roll with them or get rolled over. But it's weird. It's weird. I have some women that, I don't know if it stems from, and don't start sending me no inboxes or anything about what I'm about to say. But I don't know, this whole LBGTQIW XYZ community, ever since they have started like really taking over this world when it comes to our women, I don't know. I don't know. And listen, I got my niece. I got a niece that's LG, WW, XYZ. I got a niece, that's, on that side. So I'm not talking about y'all, and I do talk about her though. I'm not talking about y'all but at all, because I love y'all. But I'm just saying the spirit is starting to take over, and our women, we don't know if they're women anymore. There's not a definite line that you can say, yes, she's a woman, he's a man. Now everything is smashing, is coming together, and there's a Mercury, I don't know. Sometimes I have to sit back and I watch a man for a long time, and I'm contemplating, is he a man or is he on the other side? Because he has more feminine traits. And I do understand that there are men who are raised by their mothers and their aunties, so they take on the more feminine trait. I understand that. And I know that there are women who society or life have told them that they are men. So before you know it, you blink, and now they looking like men. They wearing the Timberland boots, they wearing the saggy pants. Now women, it used to be, and I'm a little confused, but it used to be women, our hair was our glory. That was a feminine trait for us. Now women are getting their head shaved off. You look at a woman, all their head shaved off. They bald headed all the way around with a little piece that's just, this in their face, just a little piece. And you looking like, why did you cut your hair? I don't get it. And I know people are going to be who they are, and we allow them to be who they are. So I'm just talking about masculine traits of women. Are we soft? Am I soft enough? We have to ask ourselves that when we're around our male counterparts. Are we soft enough, or are we just one of the boys? You high-fiving the boys just like they doing their buddies. You taking them back just like they doing. I have sat and watched and sat at the table with some women that would drink a man up under the table. That's too masculine for me. You got a beer and you taking them back. You got, some weed sticks that, you telling him how to get him higher. Now, where were you? Well, I don't know. Where did it switch? I don't know. This is new to me. You telling him how to get more effed up. And I'm just sitting back and I'm watching and I'm like, dang, dude. And he looking at you like, squaw? I don't even know if that's a word anymore. like for real? That's what squaw mean. Like for real? Square business, that. I do. I sometimes I have to check my nieces, and sometimes, and I'll be like, you doing too much. Bring that down. I'm not competing with a man because I don't have to. I don't want to. I don't want none of the jobs that y'all have to, have. I would kindly give it over. Because me and talk all about it, this submissive thing, y'all don't know how to submit. The devil is a lie. You can pay all them bills. You can, listen, be the provider. I would definitely step back and allow you to walk in what God has allowed you to walk in. Now, we may have a little talk about the grass if you're not doing it right, but I'm going to let you do you. I'm not gonna argue with you about you paying the bills. That's your job. Figure it out. Now, see, I'm gonna have the men talking to me, like it's 50-50. No, it ain't 50-50. That's this new age shit. I'm not paying 50-50 with no man. I'm not doing it. My mama didn't do it. My grandma didn't do it. And hell, Carmen ain't doing it. If I gotta pay 50-50, I might as well pay my own stuff and live at peace. Every woman don't want your money that you don't have. That's what, be making me laugh a little bit, you know. Men always say to me, women don't want our money. You don't got no money. Sir, you can't even pay your own bills. What is you talking about? What we taking from you? $40? Y'all stuck on that $40. Or did it go up to 60? I don't know. It's 35. I don't want your money. I got my own money. I got my own career. I got my own place, my own car. I got my own. I am well and capable. Just because I'm well and capable don't mean I want to do it. It's just that I have to do it at this moment. And I'm not saying when I'm, you know, I can release and I can, you know, jail together with someone. And people don't realize this about me because I'm very opinionated. But people don't realize that I'm very submissive. Very submissive. Listen, when I can get something off my plate, you better know that it's getting off my plate. I ask you in a minute, babe, what you think? In a minute. Because I want the decision to be yours. That's one less decision that I have to make. Babe, what you think? You know, they said, I can't wait. Now, I used to laugh at women like this, my girlfriends. When they get married, they be like, my husband. And I used to be like, if you say that one more time, I'm going to punch you in your throat. But I can't wait till I get married so I can say, I got to ask my husband. Let me check with my husband. Because that's a decision that I don't have to make. But getting back to the masculine energy, I don't know how I got on that. But anywho, I desire to see more feminine women that know their place. You know, and I know even with me saying women that know their place, that's controversial. You know, everything is controversial when it comes to a woman being in alignment with who God has created her to be. You know, it's controversial because now we've told that we are boss bees or boss chicks. We are told that we are independent chicks. Everything that separates us, nothing that brings us into unity. That's weird to me. I want to say some other words, but that's the most safe word that I know. That's just weird to me. I don't want to be independent from the man that I love or the man that, you know what I'm saying, that's in my life. How about we take up another word and we just be interdependent on each other? We're working this thing called life out together. We're figuring these things, you know, called life out together. And while I'm talking about life, remember, get my book, Life Happens. You can order it at DetroitTableTalk.com. Hit shop and shop away. But life happens. And it's better with somebody than by yourself. You know, but if you're taking on that masculine energy, you're going to be by yourself a whole lot. Let's look at this next clip and let's have the conversation.
Women are masculine. You can forget about being with a masculine man because we're going to look the other way. We do not want masculine women. No, we don't care if you got the bag, or we don't care if you're bossed up. Men don't care about your money. We don't care how much money you have. We don't care how much status you have. All we care about is the traditional attributes that come with femininity.
That's dope. That's dope. I don't think a lot of women understand that. We're out here. I know that society caused us women to have to go out here in the workforce and work because, you know, back in I think the 1960s, for the government to help you, the man had to be outside of the household. And I don't think we ever recovered from that. And I truly think that because women have had to go get the bag, you know, we have been so focused on our careers. We have been so focused on money. We have been so focused on getting more than the Jones, you know, next door to us. that we have forgot about why we were here and why we were created. We have totally forgot about the family structure. And unfortunately, the family structure is hurting. It's hurting because women are out being who they are. The man is out doing what he does, and the children suffer. And I'm not saying the dynamics always have to be. Should it be with the parents in the household? Absolutely. But should it be with parents in a household that absolutely love each other? Yes. You staying in a household because your children are there. You don't like that man. And that man don't like you. Y'all just living your days out miserable. And y'all don't even realize y'all making them damn kids miserable. They can't wait till they get 18 to get away from the both of you. You know, we have to find where we're supposed to be. And we have to, as much as we can, create a healthy household for our children. My parents were married, but there's a lot of parents that are not married, you know, that either mom or dad has to take up the brunt of the family structure in the house or whatever, for whatever reason. And that's cool and all that stuff. But women, we have given up our families for these corporations that don't give a care about us. I mean, they don't give a dang about you and your family. They don't care if your children are falling off. They don't care if your children are getting in trouble in school. You know what I'm saying? If they are running into some issues in the street and being incarcerated, they don't care anything about that. You know, and if you don't show up for a certain amount of days, they will let you go at the drop of a dime after you have sacrificed your family for them. You are nothing more than a ticket for their company to get closer to their next goal. I mean, we really have to let that sink in. I thought about it yesterday. I woke up and I decided, I said, I'm not going to work today. I said, I'm tired. My body is tired. I am mentally tired. And I want a mental health day. I'm just going to lay in this bed, sleep, and I'm going to get up and run a couple of errands, but I'm going to do it when I'm ready. Do you know them jokers called me back to back to back to back? I mean, literally back to back, back to back. And I was amazed. So I finally was able to talk to my boss, and I'm like, how can I help you? What do you need? Is something happening? I'm off. Why are y'all calling me? I just wanted to make sure you were okay. But see, they're so used to you showing up. They're so used to you being there that when you're not, because it's out of the norm, you okay? You all right? You coming back? They don't care that you need a mental health day. They go on vacation for 2 and 3 weeks and they don't think nothing about y'all because they have already programmed you to come into this job, do this, do A, B, C, and D, and they know it's going to be done so they can be out on their yachts, chilling with their family, getting the rest and the rejuvenation that they need to come back for a week, maybe 2, and they going again for another week or 2. While you still standing there missing your vacation, let me tell you what started it. This is yesterday I took off. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I spoke with my regional director. And I said, I went in my bank and I noticed I'm missing quite a few my vacation days. What's happening? Well, what did it say? I said it so mad I wanted to go off. I said they took them because they said that I didn't use them. And I said, how y'all gonna take some days because I didn't use them and y'all don't have enough people here for me to take the days? I said, no, that just don't make no sense to me. I said, yeah, I don't think that's fair. She said, what do we expect for you to take your days? I said, how? And I don't have enough staff. And the staff I have, you told me that they're not allowed to work overtime. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. They don't care. They do not care. So guess what I've decided? I won't lose another day. I'm taking all my days, every last one of them. And I'm going to get them days back that they took. But I realized that ever since I was 18, I have worked and worked and worked and worked. And although I think I was an excellent mom, I really wish that I had spent a lot of more time with my children. And this not to say I didn't spend time with my children, because I was at every football game, every baseball game, every soccer game, every track. I was at every practice. But I was working full time, going to school full time, and still trying to make all their practices and games and stuff like that. I was juggling the stuff. But how much more would have been if mama was able to be at home a little bit more instead of chasing the bag? You know? So is it our fault that a lot of the women are becoming more masculine? Probably. You know, and I hate to say it, and that's where the men need to step up so that she can release herself from all those duties. And she doesn't have to feel like she has to go an extra shift, an extra mile to make stuff happen. It should be something that you come together and work out together. My children are 29 and 31. And when my sons get on my nerves, I still get on the phone to call their daddy. I'd be like, you better talk to your sons because they over here tripping. You know, so that's that balance. That's that balance. And I feel like now where I'm at in my life, I'm able to fully flow through my feminine energy. And a lot of women are not allowed to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to this last little clip, and then we're going to wrap up and be up out of here because I got some movies to watch. I ain't even going to lie to y'all because I'm still off.
When a woman is in her masculine energy, she has difficulties in the act of having sex. Her body doesn't open up. It doesn't lubricate the way that it should naturally because she's closed up. She's living from the power of her mind. And if she's living from the power of her mind, she's living in her masculine energy. There is no space for her body to open, for her heart and her soul to then allow her body to open to other masculine energy.
Baby, did y'all just hear that? Y'all wonder why these women ain't around here squirting and coming. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't mean to say it like that. What I'm saying is, and y'all wonder why women can't relax in the bed. Because she got so much energy pent up where she thinking about what she got to do tomorrow in the next hour. I got to wash these dishes. I got to get these clothes done. I got to make sure this grass and, you know, my car is making up. And then you want her to get in the bed and automatically relax. She can't. She can't. So what she's thinking about while you sitting there trying to get your groove on or your rocks off, she's sitting there like thinking like, I wish he hurry up. And then you wonder why the connection is not the way that it should be. Don't no woman want to voluntarily walk in masculine energy. Ooh, that last video just did it for me. Ooh, wait. All that pent up. And he talking about some relax. Nigga, how? How? You been home for 4 hours and this dish is still in that sink. Just think about this. And then I'm going to close. Just think about this. A woman has to work. 9 times out of 10, she's going to school. She's in ministry. She's taking care of the children back and forth to school, to their activities. You know, now she has laundry to do. She has to worry about paying bills. She has to worry about, you know, connecting with the community. She has to do this, and this. And then at the end of the night, you want her to swing on a chandelier. You want her to do backwards flips. You want her to drop it like it's hot. Hell, I'm dropping it like it's warm because I'm tired. And do you want to know where the energy is at? The energy is being built up for the next day that I have to do the same thing over and over again. Men, let's release these women from their masculine energy so they can be that woman that walks in her femininity. Women, release some of that stuff off your plate. Ask for some help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for some help. and take a breather. Take a breather. We need it. I need it. And it's going to be okay. I want to tell you again about the Masquerade Ball. That's next Saturday, June the 10th. I have opened up the Masquerade Ball. Everybody who want to come, well, you know, within limits of the limitation, they can come. You don't have to pay, but you do have to pay for your drinks. So come on out. Have a good time. You know, we got some good food. I'm not going to tell you what's on the menu, but it's some good food. And guess what? Dinner is from 8:30 to 9:30. After 9:30, if there is some food left over, we're putting it up because we finna party for the rest of the time. We're not finna have Negroes coming in at 9:30 trying to make a chicken plate. You missed out. Eat before you get there then. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to have a good time. I hope to see you guys on Saturday. You don't really get to go to a Masquerade Ball at this caliber and not have to pay anything. But I really want to say thank you for all the support that you have poured into Detroit Table Talk. Thank you for voting for us to be the top 3 Detroit podcasts for Detroit Choice Awards. I want to say that we really love you guys. We appreciate you. When I say we, I mean I love you. I appreciate you. And we look forward to bringing more shows to this table that would knock your socks off. So we see you Saturday at 8 o'clock. And we'll see you back at the table. No, we won't be at the table next Saturday. So we will see you on the 24th. On the 17th is Juneteenth. Come on down to the corner ballpark. We're having a Juneteenth celebration. We have our politicians against our community leaders playing a classic baseball game. Come on down and have a good time. We have food. We have everything there for you. So we'll see you back at the table January the 24th.
The Detroit Table Talk podcast presents a Masquerade Ball. Not like that. Saturday, June 10th, 2023 from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. 25463 Grand River, Redford, Michigan, located in the Redford Oaks Plaza. Plenty food, cash bar. Ticket costs $50. More information, call 313-333-9657. This is a Detroit Table Talk production.